RCP's we're kind of unique. We're a block manufacturer, distributor, and we have 6 retail operations here in Southern California. We're going on 75 years as a company.
Unique in that we are a manufacturing distribution plant that we distribute our sales yards, but we also deliver straight to customers, which a lot of our industry kind of colleagues or cohorts, other companies do the same thing we do, manufacture block, really don't usually sell to the public. Usually they'll sell to dealers who then sell to the public.
I think we move material around really well, and we do it really quickly compared to other companies. I've done business with other companies, I don't want to name any names, but I went and bought stuff they didn't have it in stock. And you ask them about just transferring between warehouse and warehouse, and it takes weeks. We get it done in a day or two. And because we've got our own trucking and we've got our own fleet. And on the same token, we get our material out to the customer really quickly as well. The only thing that slows it down is if everybody else is buying material and we've got a backlog, we've got the material on hand typically. If we don't, we move it around between warehouse to warehouse very, very efficiently, and then we get it out to the customer very quickly compared to other companies.
Warehouse. You mentioned a backlog. Are there any other challenges that you face?
A big challenge that we do face, and when I say big, I don't mean it's like a big deal per se. It's more of, it's big in the eyes of customers, is making them happy, like kind of like I said, in the same vein of moving this material around fast, like Ed was saying, get to the customer when they want it. That's part of good service that, like I say, we try to provide. And like Ed says, we're usually 1 to 2 days out, maybe 3 at the most, usually for delivery. So if someone comes in and wants to place a delivery, we usually sometimes can get it out that day. For the most part, within three days, we will be able to deliver your product to you in San Diego County here.
Challenges. The one thing that I can say is a challenge is meeting the customer's unrealistic expectations. And on the retail side of the business, and Brad sees this as well, some of our delivery windows are 9 to noon or 9 to 5, is your delivery window if it's a work-in delivery or something like that. Well, they don't hear 9 to 5, they hear 9. And we get the phone call, hey, when's my load going to be here? You guys said 9. No, we didn't say 9. We said 9 to 5. But again, you credit to Brad and his department. We give him a call. We let him know, hey, this guy's, losing it. He thought we said 9. What can we do? And sometimes we can make it happen, and other times we can't. But more often than not, we find a way to keep that customer happy.
Like I said, that's probably the biggest problem, is in regard of we get it the most often. Obviously, it's not like Ed said. We usually can make it. We can placate them, and we can make it happen and get them back to the happy, that we want from them. But the problem that we occur the most, repetitive day, and that is the one thing that we're really hoping and excited about this new app will we're getting into this whole age of everyone else, where you're getting these text messages, keeping them abreast of where we're at.
Exactly.
Pushing the information to them rather than them having to pull it from us.
Exactly.
Keeping them ready, keeping them in the loop, so to speak, and that's really all they're looking for.
Do you guys have any insights into just like challenges that stand out overall in your industry? Not specific to RCP, but just your specific industry.
Well, like Ed was saying, it's the backlog of getting materials to produce materials, and then that long, not a long time, but then the time of producing the materials. Need to get our products in to do. We're, like I say, we manufacture our block, but we also resell. So we're trying products that go with our products, and so a lot of times, we want to sell someone a fireplace, but we can't get in the chimney flues for them, the metal fabrications and things that go in the chimney to sell them that. So, sometimes we're waiting on outside service to get that one little last part to put our pack to deliver to the customer. So that's obviously something this whole industry is reeling with, not just dealing with,
Right.
It's,
Going back to the one most frequent challenge that you guys were talking about earlier, about your customers calling you when the truck isn't there right at 9. How did you used to handle that before you have the new feature on FieldLogix with the ETA, specific ETA?
When we arranged the delivery, we would tell them, hey, on the day of delivery, if you'd like an ETA, give us a call here at the sales counter. So then what would happen is the salesman would put that customer on hold, and they would call our dispatch facility and they'd say, hey, I have a delivery going out today for this person. What's the ETA on that? They'd go look at the board, talk to each other, tribal knowledge, come up with an answer, get back on the phone with me, tell me the ETA. I'd get back on the phone with the customer, tell them the ETA. So it was, customer sitting on hold, and sometimes they'd be on hold for a while. And like Brad mentioned, with this, we're able to push that information to them. So our business process is going to change in that instead of telling the customers now, hey, on the day of delivery, give us a call, it's going to be, hey, if you like, you can. However, we're going to go ahead and push out these text notifications to you to let you know where we're at, what our ETA is, whether we're 5 minutes out, 10 minutes out. I understand that can be adjusted by the driver via the app, which is great. And, it just really keeps them in the loop, which is great.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're hoping what it does is it eliminates the phone traffic out on the retail sales counter.
Yeah.
So they can concentrate on making sales and not giving out
Okay, so let's move on to the solution to some of the challenges we just discussed. And I'm going to direct this question to you, Con. Just interested to hear, like, you heard their challenges. Like to know a little bit about the product mix that you put together for RCP.
Sure. Yeah. So the goal of FieldLogix and particularly our Goose dispatching product is really to optimize processes that are currently manual. So a lot of times in organizations, manual processes, they just take a long time, right? They could take several hours to complete things that are, if you have to plan routes based on paper, it could take several hours to do that. But also that information isn't really shared. Usually that information is held by an individual or a specific location. And sometimes there are other locations, other individuals that need to have access to that information. So they may need to see the routes for the next day, see what the plan is. Maybe they have to correspond with their customers and give them an update on, where they are on the route and things like that. So it's more to kind of share the information amongst multiple parties. It also, the information, since it's digital, it's not locked down to a single physical location. So, it doesn't require someone being at an office, looking at a map on a wall to plan those routes. People can plan routes from, home the day before if they have to, especially now that some people are working remote. So it makes the information more easily accessible by multiple parties and just easier to access off-site. But in addition to that, it helps improve customer service. So, once these routes are planned and they're dispatched out, customers can be notified when those deliveries are en route to help ensure that, they know when to expect that delivery, maybe to give that delivery person access to the facility, maybe just to plan whatever other work they have to complete during that day around that delivery. So it really gives them more insight as to what the progress is as far as the delivery goes, and makes them more satisfied, makes them more loyal. It gives the company delivering that product a competitive advantage because if that customer places another order, they're going to be comparing that company's delivery process to another company's delivery process. And if that other company doesn't have the same level of transparency, they probably don't have as much of an advantage in winning that business. So those are the main things that we try to help companies like RCP do. Obviously, technology kind of changes things in a lot of organizations, and, a lot of times it takes time to kind of work that in, but, at the end of the day, it's definitely better for the company and for the customer.
Now Now let's talk about the good results. I know that you haven't been using Goose all that long, but have you already started seeing improvements in your process, in your route planning process?
All the way around.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a little bit easier. It's going to be, easier for the customer to get their information. It's going to be easier for the salesman to not have to give out the ETAs, and then even the drivers. We haven't mentioned the drivers.
Yeah.
In the past, the responsibility was put on the driver if there was a note on the order to call before, and the drivers really didn't like doing that. They don't want to talk to the customer, And
Yeah.
now they don't have to do that anymore. So I think they're embracing it as well, because they can just push a button and send out that text update versus actually having to look at the paper, get the phone number, call them up, explain who they are, and tell them, hey, I'm en route from wherever
Really
I'm at.
streamlined.
Yeah.
The other thing I was going to bring up that's really cool about this is the picture taken.
Yeah.
The back end of it, once our delivery is done, how we can take a picture, kind of like Amazon's box on your doorstep. Now we can take a picture of the driveway with all the block and sand and rock and whatever else we're delivering right there on it.
Yeah. And that's huge for us because, again, it's just another department that aids. If we have a customer that reaches out and it lands in our finance department because they're doing a chargeback on their American Express, now we can look at that photo and we can prove to American Express. We can say, hey, look, this is a picture of the material in this person's driveway. Additionally, another department that it's going to help our safety department when they get the phone call saying, hey, you guys ran over my mailbox or whatever, and then Brad's actually got a photo of the driver standing, and here's the mailbox that's still up when we left, that
Yeah,
kind of
for
thing.
sure.
So this is really going to help 4, 5, 6, 7 different departments.
Yeah. What have you done to prepare the drivers for it?
Well, the drivers have been using it. Like I said, we've been live dispatch part. We've been using it, and I just wanted them to all get really familiar with it before we start having the people train it, and so get them on what they're going to be doing. And then once we get all our salesmen out on the counters telling everyone, okay, this is what's going to happen, they'll already be hopefully really versed in it and actually be, like I said, good in it.
Everybody's knowledge of technology isn't created equal, and probably there's some that aren't quite as tech savvy. I mean, have you gotten any feedback? Was the adoption, were they reluctant to adopt the new tool?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I got some drivers that are pretty close to retirement, and so
Yeah, right.
they're not too hip on change for one.
Yes.
They're really hip on technological change. So I'm not gonna say it's been smooth, but I'm getting them around. I'm just kind of trying to. That's why we started this with my drivers this early, and I'm really them to be, get in on it. And like I said, the big thing and the big selling point, like Ed's saying, is we're making it easier for them. Really,
it also protects them too. It covers them in case of an incident, like you mentioned earlier. So it keeps them protected. Do you guys have any advice for people who are, want to use a tool like this and they're getting pushback from the drivers? Do you have any advice on how to increase adoption among the drivers?
I mean, you said it protects them because if they take the photo, prove they didn't damage anything. Also, if you go into the route history, you can see when they got to the job and when they left. Now that eliminates things like, hey, some gravel fell off your truck on this road and broke my windshield. Okay, I was on a job site at that time, because now we have that timestamp of when they got there and when they left. So we can eliminate that driver and say, sorry, that was somebody else. That wasn't RCP. We don't have to pay for that windshield. They hit the button. They don't have to call and talk to somebody they don't know. And sales and communication like that really isn't their realm. They want to get there and get the material offloaded and get back on the road to the next stop. So there's just a number of benefits. And like even with Brad, I mean, the ability to import things into the system, that was a big thing for him. He was typing everything in manually for a few days, and then I was like, man, let's run this stuff in via an import. So there's a lot of different kind of like selling points for individuals that might be a little bit hesitant about adopting this.
Would you guys say that that using this tool gives you kind of a competitive advantage?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know if our competitors are doing this. I don't think they are. And like you mentioned earlier, I mean, or I think it was Yukon that mentioned earlier, you know, maybe some customers are going to like this so much that they prefer to order from us, you know?
Yeah, they're not transparency and the communication, like you say, from another company that we are, you know, yeah, that's a big thing for a lot of people these days.
Mm-hmm. Just thank you again for being such a loyal customer since 2014. I would love it if you could share a little bit about your experience as our customer over that time period.
Just from what I mean, I deal with different vendors all the time. I deal with our ERP vendor, and I've got a couple different products from them. I deal with our MSP. I deal with our phone MSP and all these different vendors. And one thing that kind of stands out to me is, you know, Yukon and the people, I'll call them developers, whoever he's working with, have been really nimble, and they've been really, we've got their ear, and we make a suggestion and they're right on it, you know, and changing the system, or hey, let's try this or let's try that. And that I've been really impressed with, you know, making this more user-friendly for our industry specifically, but I'm sure it'll benefit other industries. So I've been really impressed with that, and the enthusiasm and the willingness to, you know, listen to the customer and change the application.
Yeah, I'll echo all that. I mean, Yukon's been really good. Joe's been really good with any questions I have and everything. You know, really great customer service. That's like I said, I'm excited about all this because like I said, we started this meeting about what's our biggest issue, what's our biggest challenge. It is the ETAs and pleasing the customers with that. Because what happens? You tell them an ETA, and then if I don't hit it, it's instant disheartenment. It's instant discouraged. You know, non-pleased customer. We don't want. We want our customers pleased. So that's where I think this is really going to be good. Like I said, just keeping them in the loop, keeping them abreast, and communicating with them, and not just, you know.
Brad nailed it. A lot of customers are becoming accustomed to this type of notification system. And I think it's really exciting that, you know, Brad did call up because he had to get some units replaced, and we found out, hey, we can do all this stuff that you're not currently doing. I didn't know about it. I inherited FieldLogix. Prior IT manager is the one that was involved in getting that brought in. So I really didn't know anything about it, except for it was a board in Brad's office where he monitored where his trucks were. So it was really cool that he was able to get a hold of somebody who said, hey, do you know it can do this? And then he brought, you know, us all together, and we're trying to figure out other ways to use the system.
Do you have anything to add?
No, I think, you know, I'd like to thank RCP for being a great customer for all these years, and definitely participating, giving us your feedback. Everything's really, you know, greatly appreciated. And, you know, as you know, I'm committed to working with you guys to ensure that we're continuing to enhance the program to make sure that we're meeting your needs, and, you know, also giving you a competitive advantage and making sure that you're on the, you know, on the tip of the technology, you know, the new technology wave.